The following is a hockey podcast out of Vancouver and Surrey, British Columbia. It'll only consist of a lot of puck talk and even more BS, or in actual words, banter and satire. Enjoy, and as always, go Canucks go.
This team did not need Connor Bedard after all, okay? You only need a one or two generational players, and it's pretty obvious that the Canucks already have one, and Quinn Hughes, again, is one of those guys. Comparing him to Nathan MacKinnon, too. What? Comparing him to Rasmus Dahlin? What? Let's have fun today.
You're Locked On Canucks, your daily podcast on the Vancouver Canucks, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Hey, welcome to another episode of Locked On Canucks, and happy December. We're in the last month of the year, baby. My name is Trevor Beggs, and I'm the co-host of Locked On Canucks and also a Canucks writer with Daily Hive Vancouver. Before we hop into talking about the generational Quinn Hughes, we got to thank you for tuning into Locked On Canucks. It's your Canucks every damn day. And we're not here without you listening. And we're also not here without the sponsors. And today's episode is brought to you by Kyle's Brown Banana. What? No, it's actually brought to you by Gametime, okay? Download the Gametime app, create an account, and use code LOCKEDONNHL for $20 off your first purchase. We'll try to keep the Brown Banana talk out of this episode because we got to talk about Quinn Hughes. Not only is he, in the running for the Norris once again, not only should he probably win the Norris once again, not only is he in the Hart Trophy conversation, but this guy may be a generational talent. Is he truly a generational talent? We're going to talk about that. And flashback to 2018 because the pundits, they got it wrong, baby. It wasn't all in for Dahlin. It was lose for Hughes that ended up being the right way to go for your Vancouver Canucks. We'll get into that. We'll also talk about the week that was for the Vancouver Canucks and our go to the week rankings and look at maybe Quinn Hughes' competition among Norris and Hart Trophy competitors. Lots to get into, but before we get to that, let me introduce my co-host. Kyle, stop showing your brown banana on the screen, man. My God. How's it going, brother?
Okay, look, let's have a serious conversation about brown bananas, okay? Like, people are coming up to me at the studio and telling me to throw this out. And I'm like, dude, the blacker the berry, the sweeter the juice. You know what I'm saying? Trust me, man. Don't throw away your almost rotten bananas, okay? Come on. What are we doing here? Anyways, Kyle Bound, Trevor Beggs. Actually talking about Quinn Hughes being generational, which I feel as if is language we don't specifically use all the time. Like, we always say he's really, really good and, we can't get used to this. And he's like, the best player in Canucks history and all this jazz. But I think every single day moving forward from this point on, let's just say it. The dude is generational. It's okay to have two of those guys, three of those guys, four of those guys in the league at the same time. The league is going through like a gold rush era, right? And Quinn Hughes is definitely one of those guys, the best player, one of the best players in hockey. And just a dude that you don't want to take for granted. Trevor Beggs, as a sports fan, like, you've been one for let me do the math, like 24, 25 years. It's a very, very long time, a quarter of a century. You tend to always want to watch these types of guys. Even if you hate these guys or on rival teams, you just want to be there to view as many of their athletic performances as possible because they're in rare territory, and the athletic excellence is, again, sometimes second to none, and you just got to be there as a sports fan, right? Watch every single Quinn Hughes game. That's what I tell the people. And there are some Canucks fans out there that I know of. They got high off the Canucks last April and May. They're watching every game, right? Oh, it's good to be a Canucks fan again. But here comes October, here comes November, and they're part-time Canucks fans, right? Because they're busy, they're older in life, blah, blah, blah. Those types of excuses. And I'm like, yo, I get it, but I don't, because Quinn Hughes is playing for the Canucks right now. He's must-watch TV. If you're a sports fan, if you're a real Canucks fan, you're not missing one of this guy's games.
No, 100%. And I'm struggling about the generational bit because it is such a finite group of players who are described as generational. But when I think about the argument, I mean, Kyle, I go back to, how many generational players have there been in NHL history? And if you're talking about generational defensemen, you're probably talking about Nick Lidstrom and Ray Bourque and
Bobby Orr,
about it, and Bobby Orr, of course. So but is that about it for the list? When I think about generational defensemen, if Hughes is in that conversation, I think Makar's got to be there too, and that might be one of the knocks on the generational argument is, can you have two generational players who are the same age, basically?
Come on, I think you can. You can.
You're right. We're writing the rules here because of the West Coast bias, but I mean, look, if you're going to include, Lidstrom, Bork, and Orr in that conversation, I mean, offensively, Hughes is doing what close to what Orr did back in the day, which is crazy to say, right? And defensively, we've seen it this season. The dude has been the best defenseman in the NHL. And I know Makar has more points. By the way, Hughes is only 4 points behind Makar with 2 games in hand. But defensively, Hughes has just been so electric all season long. You look at the stat sheet after every game. Shot attempts when Hughes are on the ice are north of 60%. Controlling goals, controlling expected goals, controlling scoring chances. Oh, and by the way, Hughes is playing about half the game right now for your Vancouver Canucks. So you want to talk about why this team's winning games? The primary reason is because Quinn Hughes is on the ice for 50% of the game.
Oh, 100%. And against softer opponents, which the Canucks, still for the most part coming up, there's still, again, there's a lot of hockey there against middling teams. And if they face those teams with injuries, it may be okay to guarantee wins in every one of those games if Quinn Hughes is playing half that game. Because again, we're talking about a generational player that is way better than hockey than anyone that is playing hockey in that game more often than not, right? If McDavid's not playing, if MacKinnon's not playing, if Makar's not playing, if sometimes Austin Matthews, you know what I'm saying? Like there's just a good chance that, again, if your guy who is that good is playing half the game against a bad team, you're winning that game. And Quinn Hughes is, again, shouldering a lot of this load. And I know it's a team effort, the whole DeBrusk thing, the whole Pius Suter thing. Pedersen has 16 points in 11 games. But again, if you use your eyes and have also been around sports for a very long time or have been viewing sports for, again, 2.5 decades plus, this is rare. Like seeing a guy being able to take over so many games in a row. Again, don't get me wrong, the Oilers series, but maybe even the Edmonton game this year, like you saw some dips in his play. But for the most part, over the last 120 hockey games that I've watched, Quinn Hughes is the best player on the ice, and he's just hogging the puck. He's bullying players. You know what I'm saying? The way he's dominating, circling around, pivoting. Now we're seeing this new form of Quinn Hughes too, where he's gotten better. Right? He's trying to attack the middle of the ice a lot more. Stick handling like a genie, right? Like a genie in the bottle. Hey, one love to Christina Aguilera. Probably my first love, to be honest. I always keep saying it's to Vancouver. It was probably Christina Aguilera.
Yeah, mine was Jessica Simpson. So same time period, buddy. I can relate.
All in all, though, again, he's just been so dominant, so clean, so efficient. And again, I just woke up this morning feeling really, really grateful for him. And I just think he's going to be one of the best players for the next 10 to 15 years. And he's still going to dominate. He's still going to get better. And just on that note, Trevor, how have you seen Quinn Hughes' game improve this year? And what are you looking forward to as far as what else could come?
Honestly, it's hard to believe, but he's more dynamic at both ends of the ice. I mean, I'm trying to remember which Wings player he was battling in the corner yesterday, but they were in a good battle, and the Wings player got the puck away from Hughes, and he just always seemed to get it back. It was about 2-3 times. It might have been Michael Rasmussen, and if that's the case, you're talking about a 5'10" guy going against a 6'6" guy. No matter who it was, it reminded me of how good Quinn Hughes is in the defensive zone and how he just rarely ever gets beat. And in the offensive zone, we've seen it over the past season plus now, dating back to last season. He doesn't just walk the blue line anymore. He walks the entire goddamn zone. Mm-hmm. He's all over the place, creating lanes for his teammates, getting pucks to the net. I mean, there's just not many players in the NHL like him. And look, the main comparable is Cale Makar. And Kyle, I think the reason why this generational argument has legs is because lots of people have tossed around the idea that Cale Makar is a generational talent. And to me, Quinn Hughes is right there in that conversation. And if you're going to say Makar is generational, you have to include Hughes in that conversation because there is not a lot separating Quinn Hughes from Cale Makar. The last thing I'll say here is that I think the only way that Quinn Hughes is going to be taken seriously as a generational talent is if he has another Stanley Cup's Conn Smythe-like run like Cale Makar did for the Avalanche.
Oh, yeah, that's what's okay. So again, at the end of the day, you want to be generational in the moment, sure. But if you want to be generational forever, you need that championship ring, right? You need some more pedigree. And that's why, we talk about Cale Makar like that too, right? The Conn Smythe, the championship, and just the way he plays. And we hope, and we're assuming, and we kind of know it. Again, it's a guarantee. Quinn Hughes, the captain of your Vancouver Canucks, he's going to bring a Stanley Cup home. It's never been as good as it is right now to be a Canucks fan, okay? So hit the like button for that. All in all, though, Trevor, let me just challenge you right now, okay? Use your eye test. Just say it. Just speak from the heart. Like, you're telling me that Cale Makar isn't generational? You're telling me that Quinn Hughes isn't generational? The only argument that you're going to make is what? That, there's two of them in the league. You can't have two guys in the same position and, still be a generational guy because it's more of like a one-man title. No, it isn't. Like, bro, these two are ridiculous, man. Ridiculous. Even if you compare Quinn Hughes to Scott Niedermayer, you can already see that this guy's going to be way better offensively than Scott Niedermayer, which is saying a lot, bro. Like I said, my kids are going to be talking about Quinn Hughes 100 years from now, whether they care for the Canucks or not. Like, he's just an icon. Like, that's how good he is. And again, Cale Makar, man, I don't give a ish, man. I know it's a sensitive topic for some Canucks fans because they just want to favor Quinn Hughes so much. Whatever, they have a stronger West Coast bias than I do, okay? But I'm going to appreciate Cale Makar. I've never seen the way hockey is played like Cale Makar plays it from the back end. In fact, he reminds me a lot of Connor McDavid. Here I am comparing Quinn Hughes to Nathan MacKinnon, the way he's attacking the offensive zone this year. Like, Cale Makar, dude, come on, the guy's unbelievable. All that being said, though, I'm okay with saying that there's two generational talents playing defense in the league right now that are changing the game forever and, going to dominate the Norris race.
Yeah, and it's funny because, a couple of years ago, we kind of lumped them all into the same group, right? Makar and Heiskanen and Hughes and Fox. Like, no, it's Makar and Hughes. And in fact, even Andrew and Kurt saying in the comments, right? Like, Makar might score more, but Hughes is better with the puck on his stick. And Kurt Richards is saying the separator between Makar and Hughes is that Hughes also plays elite defense, and they're comparable as far as dangerous offensively. And I think that's a great point because, look, around the NHL, Makar is considered the better player. He's put up more points this year. He's put up more points statistically throughout his career, I believe. 368 points in 340 games, whereas Hughes is a little behind that at 361 points in 388 career games.
Oh, no.
But overall, I think over the past 2 seasons, we've seen that Hughes is the more complete defenseman. And you might call it the West Coast bias, but I don't even think it's much of an argument. Hughes has been a better defensive player than Cale Makar dating back to the beginning of last season. So, Kyle, there just hasn't been another time in NHL history, I think, where there's been 2 defenders playing where you could call generational. Maybe if you want to include Paul Coffey in the conversation, like him and Ray Bork played at the same time. But again, I think we're in a time where, you could probably say that Hughes and Makar are generational. But again, I'm not tossing that term around loosely because, again, you can't call like every second or play every 2 years generational.
It's been like 400 games for this guy already, and I feel like every 20 games we're talking about how, oh, look what he did. He's in the record books, and who's beside him? It's Bobby Orr. Oh, look, he's done it again. He's who's in front of him? Oh, it's only Bobby Orr. Oh, game number 180. Quinn Hughes is the fastest to reach, I don't know, 1,000 assists. I don't know. Like, just every single day I'm watching Sportsnet, there's another comparison to Bobby Orr and Cale Makar. That's cool. That's cool. Now I'll say this, though, devil's advocate just a bit, because as a Canucks fan, you want this, right? You want to win cups. You want to move further in the playoffs. You want to win more big games ultimately. And I think that's the next stage in Quinn Hughes' career. And, he's still so young. And it seems as if he's just got here, okay? Especially in a winning environment. But I can't wait for that moment, okay? For when he's just winning big games on his shoulders. You know how he dominates games against, like, in the regular season, he does this thing. He twirls. He just has the puck forever. I want to see him do that in must-win games, like the Game 6s, the Game 7s, or even just regular season games against the Oilers, to be honest. Those are must-wins for me, okay? On Saturday night, like, put on a show for the whole world and do so in big game moments. And I know he can because he's cerebral. He's a stone-cold killer. He's just an extremely good leader. He wants to get better. Those days are coming, and I just can't wait for those days to come. All over my eyes. I just can't wait to see all those things.
Whoa. Stop talking about. I told you, bro. Stop talking about the brown banana.
No. Like, I just want to see it, like, into my eyes.
Oh man. I think the last thing I want to say on this before we cut to break is, and again, we mentioned it before. You mentioned Quinn he's showing up in the big games. It's got to come down to playoff performances, right? I mean, look at Cale Makar. He's got 80 career playoff points in 72 career playoff games. The year he wins the Conn Smythe, he had 8 goals and 29 points in 20 games. We need a performance like that from Hughes in the playoffs before the rest of the NHL is going to take him seriously.
Can you read that again, though? Talent. Can you read Cale Makar's stats again in the playoffs? Like when he won the Conn Smythe? Is that okay? I need to hear this again. What?
When Cale Makar won the Conn Smythe, he had 8 goals and 29 points in 20 games.
Holy shit!
It was an unbelievable run. I mean, we were watching that, right? He was crazy. He was insane in that postseason, right?
Damn.
And Quinn Hughes on his career has 2 goals and 26 points in 30 career playoff games. So still almost a point a game guy, but nowhere near the same level of dominance as Cale Makar. in terms of postseason hockey. But postseason Quinn Hughes will get there, and that's why soon enough, the rest of the NHL will also recognize Quinn Hughes as a generational talent. So a few other talents on the Canucks, and we'll talk about that in the GOATs of the Week rankings. 4 games for your Canucks last week. We'll break it all down the other side after we shout out our friends over at FanDuel and Gametime. You know the deal, baby. If you're betting on sports, the place you got to go is FanDuel, okay? They are America's #1 sports book. Right now, new customers can bet $5 and get $150 in bonus bets if you win. The FanDuel Sportsbook app gives you everything you need to place live bets on the NFL all in one place. So when you get a hunch in the middle of the game, you can check out the latest stats, view live play-by-play, and so much more on that same page where you place your bets. Just visit FanDuel.com to join today. You can start with $150 in bonus bets if you win your first $5 bet. That's FanDuel.com. Never trust a fart. What? Never waste a hunch and make every moment more with FanDuel, official sportsbook partner of the NFL. All right, whether you're into Canucks hockey, of course you're into Canucks hockey. That's why you're here. But if you're into concerts, comedy, theater, whatever tickles your pickle, you got to go check out Gametime, okay? Because if you're buying tickets, Gametime, they're the only place you want to go. And I did a little price matching this morning, okay? Looking at other ticket platforms, and I found, true to their word, true to the ad read, that Gametime had the cheapest tickets for the Canucks, for Nelly Furtado. Man, oh man. They got it all figured out, and they got this new feature also called Gametime Picks that makes getting tickets for your favorite live events even easier. So all kinds of people reposting tickets, trying to sell them, and Gametime Picks. What they do is they filter the fluff to show you only the best deals on available tickets. Okay, they're saving you time. Okay, so you get on with your day and do whatever you want to do. Okay, so take the guesswork out of buying tickets with Gametime. Go download the Gametime app, create an account, and use code LOCKEDONNHL for $20 off your first purchase. Terms apply. Again, create that account. Redeem the code LOCKEDONNHL for $20 off. Download Gametime today. What time is it? Game time.
Okay, we back doing this, and that's talking about your Vancouver Canucks, Kyle Bowen, Trevor Beggs. Kyle Bowen, hey, Trevor Beggs, man. The second best dad in the world, full-time, only parent in the household for a week. You're surviving, you're still at work. I thought you were going to call in sick today, okay? For real. I have $40 on a FanDuel bet on that, man. How you doing, man? How you surviving? And you had a lot of hockey to watch, too. Like, you're just a warrior, man. I don't know how you're doing it.
Yeah, the week was a good time to slow down and just play with the kids, man. Just turn into a 4-year-old myself, like screw the parenting, I just become one of the kids, man. If you can't beat them, join them,
Okay.
You also got to just utilize the technology so you can catch up on sports, right? I had a little event Sunday morning. That's why I couldn't hop on the post-game show with you, but I ended up not checking the phone and not spoiling the Canucks score. And man, oh man, what a sick game on Sunday.
Ooh.
And I was able to watch after the fact without having the final score spoiled for me. So
on that note, Trevor, you got to give me some credit, okay? Right after DeBrusk scored the overtime winner, okay? I'm driving to the Beaumont, B-side radio, had a little DJ gig, boom, bam. I called Trevor Beggs because I'm excited. I'm like, damn, Jake DeBrusk, eh? I didn't say that when he picked up the phone because right away Trevor was like, yo, but don't tell me the score. And how did I respond? Did I give off the energy like the Canucks won or lost the game? Because I thought I did a great job being.
No, you did a good job. Yeah,
I did. I was very neutral. Like I think I gave you the energy that we just disappointed ourselves. Did I not?
No, it was very neutral. It was very neutral.
Congratulations, Kyle, man. I'm a good friend. Trevor, take some notes. Anyways, you saw a lot. That was probably, again, it's the Detroit Red Wings. I know the Steve Yzerman plan. Sorry, the Yzer plan, whatever you say. Okay, Yzerman. Again, I don't know what's going on with that guy, but he does not know how to build a hockey team. Bro, I would not trust him like running a GM mode on EA Sports NHL. Like for real, he has failed so bad. We played that team. We played the most exciting game of the season against that team, but it had me feeling brand new, Trevor. Woo-hoo! I was like, damn, Vancouver Canucks hockey, man. What happened against Pittsburgh a couple days ago? Bro, I'm an idiot for saying what I said. I'm going to go delete that episode from a couple days ago. That's how that win against the Red Wings made me feel. How did it make you feel?
Honestly, like you alluded to it, one of the rare games this season where I was jumping out of my seat throughout, like yelling at the TV, go, come on, what's going on? Like it was an exhilarating game and had the back and forth aspect to it. Boom, bam, the overtime. And look, when I remind you, these teams played a pretty exciting game a year ago when the Detroit Red Wings won in overtime on Jake Wallman's penalty shot overtime winner on Thatcher Demko. Like that was a good morning game, a weird morning game as well. So these two teams have, they're fairly fun teams overall. I know the Wings haven't scored much recently or as much as they expected this season, but they're not a great defensive team either, which makes it easier to have an exciting game. But
yeah,
I will say, and I don't want to be a Debbie Downer, but I'm going to do it for a second here. We're at the quarter mark of the season, and Kyle, one thing I've said throughout is that I worry about how this Canucks team is going to perform in big games against good teams, and we'll talk a bit more about tomorrow's game. But so far we're at the quarter mark, and have they really beaten a good team convincingly? I think on the phone we were saying that maybe the LA Kings game where they won in LA, the Florida Panthers game, I know they missed Barkov and Kachuk, but that's still a damn good team over there too. But there just hasn't been a lot of convincing wins so far. So good teams beat the bad teams. The Canucks have done that. But I just still have some trepidations about this team right now.
And yeah, this Vancouver Canucks also blew a 3-0 lead to Calgary game 1, if that even matters when it comes to assessing this team. And again, they got their ass kicked by Pittsburgh for like 40 minutes. But at the end of the day, Trevor, I think, again, it's one of those things you and I, or maybe even more so I, can just like look at, observe, get over fixated about, get emotional about, not giving, thus leading me not to give a lot of credit to this Canucks team and all that jazz. But again, we've watched sports for 2.5 decades, and the reality is you just got to handle business and like what's in front of you, and you can't really look at your season at the quarter way mark and spend too much time being disappointed that you didn't beat all the good teams you faced. I think it's more important just to hone in on the fact that you've won 14 games. And, in a lot of these games where you haven't played well, you're still not out of the fight. You still have this grit. You still have this energy about you. You have this snappiness about you. That's still a good trait for a team that's just starting to learn how to win again. And there has been a lot of question marks around the team. Like there's been a lot of noise. It's maybe been harder than originally thought to mesh and gel. And on that note, there's been a lot of new players too. I just think that we can't spend too much time, just not too much time, maybe like 1 or 2 minutes here and there, because it's a point, but not too much time looking into, again, how the Canucks have only beaten the LA Kings this year when it comes to like healthy, full, strong teams. Like they got their ass kicked by the Devils, the Oilers, Tampa Bay, if you want to throw them into the mix, etc. It's been a fascinating and overall, I would say, what's the word? Polarizing start for the Vancouver Canucks.
Yeah, exactly. Right. And I still, a loss you didn't mention was the Islanders one where they got smoked by a really mediocre team.
Dude. We should have lost the game 15.
Okay. We'll stop talking about it.
No, you're right. You're right. Trevor, again, look, a couple days ago, it's awesome. It's awesome being a fan because you just get to realize how emotional of a human being you are. Like 4 days ago, I'm not jumping off the wagon, but what I am doing is telling Patrick Allvin, don't make a trade tomorrow. Don't do it. Don't do it. The team's not proving itself to be good enough to go all in on, right? Straight up. This is getting concerning, okay? We just got our ass kicked by the Pittsburgh Penguins, and like you said a couple weeks ago, we got destroyed by the New York Islanders. Yo, relax. What's going on here? And then a couple days later, it's this team has so much heart. I believe in this team again, But again, even on that note, when it comes to making trades and whatnot, and there's been a lot of noise about Höglander, a little bit of noise on Cole Sillinger, that maybe there's something there with Columbus, who knows? So you still need a defenseman, blah, blah, blah. But I just truly believe that Allvin and Rutherford are going to, at the least, at the minimum, and maybe this is not saying much because the holidays are coming up and whatnot, and this is a sensitive time to make trades. I just feel like there's not going to be a trade this month. I feel like I don't know, something's telling me that they kind of want to see if they can build on some of this fight that they're showing, and if they can be a gritty team and still pick up points. Because you want to, again, only go all in on a team that's earned it, And up until this point, I feel as if, yeah, their record's good, but they got to show me more.
Yeah, I completely agree with you. And I think it's a good segue there into one thing I wanted to mention, and that was a report from Elliot Freeman, or at least Rick Dollywall, tweeting this out this morning. Saying that Elliot Freeman made a comment on the Canucks via the trade market and said Allvin and Rutherford have told teams that they don't have to do anything and they are not going to be taken advantage of if teams think we are vulnerable Boom, bam. That's your management team
I'm
for
going
the
to the gym
Vancouver
today.
Canucks. There
I'm
we
going
go.
to the gym. I'm going to the gym today, baby. You know what I'm saying? Yo, you got to stay hard, yo. I love Alvin and Rutherford, man. They know, you know what? I was about to swear there, but yo, bro, that's who's representing this city, man. Straight up. Straight up. Anyways, before we get to your goats of the week, and before we get to another break, like the Minnesota Wild tomorrow, we'll talk more about it tomorrow. But what do you have to say to some Canucks fans who are like already writing us off tomorrow? It's like, dude, relax. Like, yo, give this team a shot, man. Like, don't be Kyle Bound from a couple days ago. Like, it's all good. Like, let's see what this team can do against the Wild tomorrow, man.
Yeah, you know, everyone just needs a little bit more brown banana in their life, and they'll be all right. Okay.
Okay.
Let's shout out our friends over at PrizePicks and wrap up the show here on the other side on Locked On Canucks. All right. If you're playing daily fantasy sports, the place you got to go is PrizePicks, baby. Okay, they give you the best place to get real money sports action with over 10 million members and billions of dollars in awarded winnings. PrizePicks, they've done it. They've made daily fantasy sports accessible to all. On PrizePicks, you can now win up to 100 times your money with as little as 4 correct picks, okay? Do you think Elias Pettersson gets a goal in the next week? Does Connor Garland keep the point streak alive? Does Kiefer Sherwood, Kiefer the Reefer, get back on the scoring train? He went pointless last week in 4 games. And does Kevin Lankinen keep his road winning streak alive? Again, just make 4 correct picks and then win it up to 100 times your money. Wow. You can also sign up today and get $50 instantly when you play, just $5. You don't even need to win to receive the $50 bonus. It's guaranteed. So make sure that you download the PrizePicks app today and use code LOCKEDONNHL to get $50 instantly after you play your first $5 lineup. PrizePicks, it's time to run your game.
People, we back doing this, and that's talking about your Vancouver Canucks. Trevor Beggs, Kyle Bowen, one love to the Don't Doze Art Lab. For looking after that West Coast bias and that neighborly love. Again, how are you going to change the world if you're not looking after your neighbors? And one love to the podcast network. That is the Locked On Podcast Network. It's your Canucks every day. It's your team every day. It's your Canucks every minute. Speaking of which, hit the links in the bio. Join the Discord. Let's have some fun. Trevor. Man, oh man, I saw this tweet from Grady, okay? One love to Grady Sauce, okay? I think I'm saying the last name wrong. Is it Sauce or Sass? Who knows? What do you think it is? You don't know too?
No, I like Sauce, but I think it's Sass.
Yeah, okay. Look at this tweet, okay? The Canucks are 13-7-3. Yes, the Canucks are 13-7-3 without Thatcher Demko this season. Now, that's 2 points off of their total of what they had after 23 games into 2023-2024, a.k.a. last season. They're also 4-2 this season without JT Miller and 2-0 without Philip Hronek. This is a resilient bunch that's embracing the next man up mentality with some of the best. Straight up. You got to start imagining what this team will look like when they are firing on all cylinders. All that being said, though, I just sit here on this Monday a little bit more proud than I thought I would be, considering where I was a couple days ago when I didn't take a shower for 2 days and slept over at my parents after the Pittsburgh game. But just even listening to Quinn Hughes after the game yesterday, I don't know, moments like yesterday against the Detroit Red Wings, like you can't forget where you came from, and we're not that far away from playing the lottery game. We're still only a year. I was 29 years old when we were playing the lottery game, you know, like straight up looking forward to that stuff every morning. We're still learning how to win, but you can see when you can hear or feel at times the start of this culture actually being a thing in Vancouver that revolves around winning games.
Well, Kyle, you mentioned a couple stats there from Grady Sauce, Sass, whatever. And you know, that's great and all, but here's a crazy stat to me. Kevin Lankinen is 3rd in the NHL in wins right now. The only goaltenders who have more wins than Kevin Lankinen are Jake Ottinger and Connor Hellebuck. Kevin Lankinen by himself on the season with 12 wins ranks 3rd overall in the NHL. That's crazy. This guy was a free agent on September 15th, man. Unbelievable. He was listening to the Indeed ad reads and called the Vancouver Canucks on September 15th, barely 2.5 months ago. And here he is 3rd in the NHL in wins right now. And I mean, let's get into it in the GOAT of the week, because you know that Kevin Lankinen, he's going to be on there. All right, GOATs of the week, and those for the first time listeners, we ranked the top 5 Canucks from last week. The Canucks again played 4 games last week. going 3-1 in those games, okay, beating Boston, Buffalo, and Detroit and losing to the Pittsburgh Waddling Birds. I'm going to start from the top and go to work my way down this week. So the first overall should be no surprise. It's Quinn Hughes. He was named the NHL's second star of the week. He had 9 points in 4 games. Again, pretty much almost catching up to Cale Makar. He now has 4 fewer points than Cale Makar and 2 less games played. But a couple of 3-point performances last week against both the Red Wings and the Penguins. Sets up the game-winning goal in Boston. Gets on the score sheet against the Sabres as well. It was just another banner. We not even sets up the game or gets on the score against the Sabres, but sets up Connor Garland's goal. I mean, man, he was everywhere last week for your Vancouver Canucks. And again, when I think about Norris, and let's touch on the Norris and Hart watch quickly. When I think about the Norris, Dom Lucision from The Athletic tweeted out that Cale Makar and Quinn Hughes tied first overall in defenseman net rating this year, including their offensive and defensive contributions. So according to Dom's model, it is literally a neck-and-neck race between Hughes and Makar for the Norris, which makes sense. Zach Werenski would be third right now.
Why are we listening to Dom? This Dom guy, he's the one that gave Quinn Hughes a C+ going into last season, or put him on like the 8th tier list, right?
Yeah. Here's the thing about Dom. I'm a big fan of the model. The actual analysis sometimes, I think, and the projecting, I think leaves a little to be desired. But anyways, he's saying that in terms of Norris, it's Hughes and Makar right now at the top. And in terms of the Hart, I think maybe we'll talk more about it tomorrow. I may do an episode with Seth Tupal from Locked On Wild, because to me, Hughes and Kirill Kaprizov might be 2 of the best players in the NHL right now. But for the GOATs of last week, Quinn Hughes first overall. Number 2, I have Kevin Lankinen, and that's saying something because there was a lot of good Canucks last week, especially at the top of the lineup. But Kevin Lankinen gets 3 more wins last week, gets a shutout against the Boston Bruins, has a .929 save percentage, and look, the Canucks, the only game they lost was the Sheilov start. Kevin Lankinen shuts out the Bruins against the Sabres. Look, in that game, the Canucks were the second best team in that game, in my opinion. Had to make some big saves against the Red Wings as well, especially with the team trailing late. Kevin Lankinen, I'm not sure where the Canucks would be without him. I'm guessing they would not be the 9th best overall team in the NHL right now in terms of points percentage, which is where they stand as of today. Number 3 on the list, I have Connor Garland. Keeps the point streak alive. The new dad energy. 3 goals and 6 points this week, including an OT winner. Number 4, I have Jake DeBrusk, and that's crazy because Jake DeBrusk had 5 goals in 4 games last week, including a hat trick and an overtime winner himself. And at number 5, I have Pius Suter. Okay, I have Pius Suter over Elias Pettersson, who gets an honorable mention. But Pius Suter, man, I'm not sure. We've talked about him a bit. I'm not sure we're talking about him enough because with JT Miller out of the lineup, Pius Suter stepped up as a second-line center. He averaged 18 minutes and 8 seconds per game last week, and he also had 3 goals and 5 points in 4 games.
Wow, Pius Suter, man, doing his thing, yo. Just stepping up, man. Different times. You talked about Connor Garland's point streak, keeps it alive in Buffalo, and puts a hammer on it, a Thor hammer on it. Doesn't pick up any points against Detroit. Kind of is, I wouldn't say invisible, but, neutral. It is what it is. But who steps up? It's Pius Suter. You know what I'm saying? Like, how is this even happening? Team effort. This team is gelling. All that being said, though, Trevor, you made a point, and one up to the Ghost of the Week. We'll catch you next week with the next edition. But Kaprizov versus Quinn Hughes, I didn't think about that, man. That's a big one. Again, I want to see Quinn Hughes dominate against the best of the best. And I know we can do it. I just want to see it every single time, and that's what the best of the best do, right? Tomorrow, that's a showdown that I want to see, and I know the Wild are going to do their best job to possibly keep away from that matchup. That being said, they're going to still be playing against each other a lot because Quinn Hughes is always going to be on the ice. Trevor, you actually made me excited for, like, even more so for a Wild and Canucks game. It's like Willie Mitchell versus Todd Bertuzzi again, man. This is crazy.
Yeah, something like that, man. Unbelievable comparison. Let's get to a couple comments before we get out of here. GV in the comments saying, "What's Quinn Hughes' next contract going to look like?" Kyle, what? Give us the dollar total. What is the Quinn Hughes going to make?
Well, it's 8 years. Like the offer's got to be like 8 years at whatever you want. If he keeps up this trajectory and keeps getting better, because a couple of his brothers play on one team, and this guy's the ultimate family man. Like there's no substance here. Okay. Just me assuming. And I can just hear this guy's voice. You can hear the love he has for his family. And I feel like there's a good chance that he would consider going to New Jersey or wherever his brothers are to try that out. Straight up.
Don't be such a Debbie Downer, man. Look, the Canucks should pay him whatever he wants. And maybe that's a better question. I'll ask in two ways. First of all, will Quinn Hughes be making more than Austin Matthews, who is the highest paid player in the NHL right now, making $13.34 million a season?
Oh, yeah.
I believe the answer is yes. Will he make double his current contract? So that's 7.85 times 2, carry the 1. What is that? 15.7 million a season. Will he make that number? Considering the cap's going to go up over the next 3 years, if NHL revenues are good, I don't know if that's inconceivable. That's a crazy number to think about now because that's $2.5 million more than the highest paid player in the NHL. But we're talking about 3 years from now, and we're talking about Quinn freaking Hughes, baby.
Damn, bro, my mind's going in a million places, man. I'm trying to do like the math and maybe save some dollars to allocate to other places, blah blah blah. But I'm like, dude, who cares, man? Just give this guy whatever he wants, man. But you know what, Quinn Hughes, I say that, but you can kind of hear from his voice. I feel as if he'd be willing to take a quote unquote discount to be on a better team, like to build a better team too. In this case as well, like he's just such a hockey nut, man. And he's such a team guy too, the ultimate leader, and he reads books too, man. Do the math. He's the guy. He's going to bring the Stanley Cup home, Trevor.
There you go, man. It's and look at that, man. The two top goats of the week are Quinn Hughes, who he's reading the books, and Kevin Lankinen's got his own book club, man. Is that a coincidence, man? I think not.
I don't think it is too. And you know what's crazy too, like about your goats of the list, like goats of the week, you didn't have Pettersson on it, and it's like
I know, yeah.
Miller's gone, and there's Pettersson subtly picking up multi-point games here and there. So
yeah.
It is what it is. It's people are stepping up, and Begsy, you stepped up over the last 7 days when it came to your optimism that was needed on this program after what happened after that Pittsburgh game, and just want to say thank you, man, because it's the West Coast bias, right? It's Locked On Canucks. It's not that we gotta keep it positive, but we just gotta remind people that we good. We on pace to go back to April and May. Like we have a chance to be in the dance, and when you have a generational talent on your team, bro, that chance, it increases. So I'll say it again. It's never been better than it is right now to be a Vancouver Canucks fan.
Yeah, that's that's beautifully worded, Kyle, and I'm always happy to do it for you, but I'm most happy to do it for the listeners of Locked On Canucks, baby. So shout out to you, whether you're an everydayer, an occasional listener, a first-time listener, a new subscriber, or you join us on the live show here on YouTube. But wherever you're listening, whenever you're listening, we appreciate the hell out of you for tuning in to Locked On Canucks. We'll be back tomorrow, as always, because it is Locked On Canucks, your Canucks every day. Maybe even 2 or 3 episodes tomorrow, because I'm going to try to hop on with Seth Tupal from Locked On Wild. We'll get that conversation on the feed if it happens. Kyle, you and I might record, and then, of course, the Canucks play tomorrow night against the Minnesota Wild. But for now, we got to get out of here. If you like what we're doing, like and subscribe on the podcast side. Go follow us, leave a 5-star review, and we'll be back soon. I'm Trevor Beggs. That guy's Kyle Bowen, and you've been listening to Locked On Canucks.